Hello friends, this is Rahul. Let's simply learn robotic process automation with UiPath. In this video, we will see how to download the Orchestrator log for a specific job through API. So here we will perform this in a 3-step. First, we will authenticate and fetch the access token. Second, we will get the job key using process name and start time. And third, we will get the logs using job keys. Let's open the UiPath Studio, name it to the process, download Orchestrator Logs, create it. Before that, I will add here UiPath.WebAPI.activity. Now let's create a sequence. And authenticate. Okay, now open, we will get one HTTP request, and here in endpoint we will provide the endpoints. The endpoint is and our method would be post. Now I will add headers here. Headers is that, so from where I have fetched these details, I will let you know that point as well. So first of all, this is the header name and content type. The header, tenant name is, I will let you know from where I got this name. So we have added header. Now the question is from where this tenant name is appear. Okay, so open the orchestrator and then go to the admin, then go to the tenant, and here API access. So here you can see the tenant logical name. So this logical name I have basically provided here. So so far we have done endpoint, then method has been post. Okay, now the body, JSON. So the body is here that and here the client ID and refresh token that we need to provide it here. So again, the client ID is this that you will be getting from your orchestrator tenant, and the refresh token. So refresh token is nothing but your user key. So you just copy it here and You can paste it here. Yeah, now we are getting the error, so let's sort it out, this error, so by putting double quote. Yeah, yeah, error has been gone. Now let's create the variable. Okay, now let's create the variable, uh, output variable, that is control K, result access token, and similarly for status code access token. Okay, now we will be getting the result in a JSON format, so hence we will be using deserialization, and we will using result access token here, that output variable, and here we will create one output variable of that deserialization is JSON object and result access token. Yeah. So I will print this as well, right line, yes, and I'll be using one assign activity, and I'll create one variable access underscore token, yes, and we will be using that the output of the deserialization, and here in double code value dot to string, and we will print the result. Sorry, we will use right line to print the result, that is access token. Now why I have been using here that value string being, so let me just execute this and I will explain you that as well. Okay, okay, sorry, not my bad. So I have to use basically access token instead of that value. So what happened when we use the output of the deserialize JSON, then we can based on the key and value, so we will passing key here, and then so basically we will be fetching the detail based on the key. So access token is a key. Let me copy. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, okay, let's save this and let's execute. Yes, so you can able to see here. Okay, so what we'll do, I will just comment this. Yeah, so you can see we have been we now we are with our access token. Okay, so our next step is as I mentioned, our next step is to get the job keys. Okay, now let me just create this variable as a change the scope of this variable. Okay, now I will just create one sequence here just for the separation, and I will name it get key, get job key. Okay, now again I will be using HTTP request, and I will be provide these details as an endpoint URL, and this time our method would be get. Now you can see here the endpoint is our cloud orchestrator cloud UiPath orchestrator cloud URL, then account logical name, tenant logical name, then filter release name, process name. Filter release name equals to process name, that process name, that the parameter that we have passed here, and another and order by start time, that is something descending. Now from where getting the account logical name and tenant logical name. So account logical, again you will be getting from that Orchestrator API. This is something the account logical name, and this is something the tenant logical name that we have passed here, and this is complete endpoint URL we will be getting after that. Yeah, now so we have passed here our endpoint URL, we have provided our process name. Let me show you that process name as well. This is the jobs, this is the process that recently been executed, so we'll be fetching the logs for that itself. There is not much log, but yes, there are a few steps, and we can see. Yeah, so process name is this one that we can able to see here, system.resolution underscore test environment, and the same process name that we have passed here, system.resolution underscore test. Yeah, now moving on to the header. So moving on to the header, so we will be creating header here, like one is content type, and we will be passing the value as application JSON. Another is a tenant name. Make sure your header argument is exactly the same. I will show you from where I have taken those names, and this is the organization unit ID. Now from where we'll be getting the organization unit ID. Okay, so organization unit ID that you will be getting from your orchestrator itself when you click on home, and then this FID is nothing but the folder ID, and this your folder ID is your basically organization unit ID. That's what the reference here. So from where you will be getting, you just log in into the orchestrator, go to the default and go to the home, then this is your folder ID, this is your organization unit ID. Yeah, and here we have created provide the authorization as well, and then we have passed bearer plus access token, the variable that the access token that we have fetched in previous step. Now again we will be using this serialization. Before that we have to create a variable here. Yeah, so I'm just rename it. Now the variable here is control K result job key. Yeah, and this variable that I have passed here, and then we will be creating one more variable of that is something output of this serialization, that is JSON object result job key. Yeah, now in this way we will be getting the job key. Now again I'll be using the write line assign. Okay, and here we will be printing our output of, and here we will be creating basically a variable that is called key, and JSON object result job key, then we'll provide here value dot indexing 0, and then will be yeah. Okay, and one more write line that I will be using to print a key. Yeah, so let's save this and let's execute it one by one. Yeah, we got the access token. Now move on to the job key. Yeah, so here you can able to see we will be getting the result, and that result is, let me just copy on the notepad. Yeah, so here I have passed in this particular in assign key we have to separate a key from that particular result. Hence what I have done here, again the key value pairing that I have I have used, and then I have segregated based on that. So first that value and the index of 0 and then key. So if you see here yeah, so this is the value based on that particular value, the values of index of 0 this, and then key. So this is the key, so using that we will be getting this particular key. So let me just continue. Yeah, so you can able to see the AE96, that particular value, that using key value pair we have separated this. So now we got our key as well for a specific job, and if you want to see if this key is correctly the same, we'll just go to the orchestrator, go to the jobs, and yeah, yeah, so here you can see the job key AE964E blah blah blah, AE964E8 blah blah blah. Yeah, so it is something this correct key. Yeah, now our next process is, so before that let me just change this scope of this sequence. Yeah, yeah, this has been done. Now again our third part is get the logs. Yeah, again we'll be using HTTP request, get the logs, and we will be providing the endpoint, that is something the cloud or UiPath cloud, then the again account logical name, tenant logical name, OData, robot logs, and then filter based on the job key. And here we have passed, that is something, a key that we have fetched from the previous step. So this is what our endpoint. And again the method would be post. And here also another step is that we have to create a headers. That header is the similar one that as we have created earlier, that is content type, that is application JSON, then the tenant name, which is something logical name. Another thing is organization unit ID, and authorization, that is something access token. Okay, so we have done with our headers, and okay, we have done with our headers, we have done with our endpoint. Now we will be creating the result, control K, output variable, that is result get logs. Yes, and we will be using again a deserialization and something result get logs, and again we will be creating here control K JSON object. Yes, now we are again using a key value pair. We will be separating those details. So again on assign activity here I will be using, and I will be creating one variable logs, and again JSON object value dot to string. Okay, and yeah, and yeah, so we, okay, before that let me just execute, before proceed let me just check whether we are on a correct track. Let me just execute this. Okay, let's start it again. We got our access token, we got our job key, we got the yes. So you can able to see we got our logs, but which is not an appropriate format that we will be expecting here. Okay, but yes, our we got our logs. You can see complete logs here from these. Yeah, so we got the logs, but basically these logs in again the different format, and that again in a JSON format I can say. And now we will be using it. We will be basically sorted uh, sorted it out, and then we will be printing in a readable format now. So here we have collected the logs in the logs variable, and again we will be using a deserialization, and we will be providing logs here, and here we will change the argument type for this particular deserialization, and we will converted that logs into the just in array format. Newton soft dot json dot link queue, and here we will be selecting here JArray, and we'll create one variable JSON object logs, which is something a JArray variable. Now we will be using a for each loop basically here, and for each loop, yeah, and we will pass this variable jlogs object, and we'll be selecting here object type. Yeah, we will use one append line activity, and we will be provided here item dot timestamp. The first one is here, okay. Let me just okay, so I have just extracted here just to make sure I'll be using the correct values. Okay, dot to string plus double quote plus double quote plus item dot label plus double quote space plus item dot message, that the message that Okay. Okay. So here we have basically again based on the key value pairing we have fetched the values based on the key, and this will be printing into the our log file. Yeah, here I need to close this bracket plus, yeah, I will just logs dot txt. Okay, let me save this. And let's run this. Yeah, execution completed, that you can see. Let me refresh and let's see the log file. Yes, so you got to know, you get it what exactly we want, basically the timestamp, then the log info, basically log message info, which is something info error or debug, and then again the message from the particular process. Yeah, so in this way you can basically fetch the logs, and you can basically created the log files, fetch the log from the orchestrator and created the log files, and basically you can use this file and you can basically email this file as well based on your need. Yeah, and if I will show you, the log is exactly same, then yes, so you can see we have printed here the timestamp, then the message. So basically we have printed the message, timestamp, and the label. Basically these three parameters that we have fetched, that is timestamp, label, and the message. So here you can see the timestamp, again the label, and the message. So these three values we have fetched, and so based on your need you can fetch all the data as well. So in a previous step, as I have, you can see here, so we got all the details like label, Windows identity, process name, timestamp, message, job keys. So based on your need, so you can fetch these details as well. But yes, if this is something easy to understand, and this for sufficient based on the basically your requirement. Yeah, yeah, in this way basically you can fetch the logs from the orchestrator for a specific job. Yeah, now the point is from where I got these all these details, basically the endpoints, then the headers. Okay, so these are the some key URLs that I have referred here. Okay, so when I open this, so we will be navigating to this, and this is something the orchestrator reference here, and so I will be providing these URLs in the description. So yeah, so authenticate cloud, so this is something the headers that is that we have been passed, and this is something the endpoint, it is something the post request, these are the headers and these are the bodies. So I have basically get the details from here. And another thing is get jobs, so again you can see the content type that we have passed here, tenant name, organization unit id, that is something folder id that I have shown you. The folder id again, let me show you here. Go to the home, this is the fid, and this is your folder id. Okay, yeah, so these details that we have fetched from the basically page, get the details from the orchestrator, and this is the reference URL, and again the API references. So this is something, the API references, where you will be get to know automation cloud. Here they have mentioned basically automation cloud URL, then your account logical name, tenant logical name. This is what that I have provided here: account logical name, tenant logical name. Yeah, and the third one is basically, again you can hear specific, this is something, the parameters that you can able to see here. The request, the so job request. So these basically, these are the URLs that I have referred. Yes, so I will be provide these URLs in the description, you can also go through. Yeah, yeah, that's it in this video. Thanks for watching. I hope this will be helpful. Please subscribe and comment your question in case any. Thank you. Thanks a lot.